During the formation of the Cyril Westcott Williams III cabinet, the third one, many of you may not know, but my name was not submitted for vetting during that time. But due to the fact that my uncle Leroy at the time was a member of the Democratic Party and in Parliament, the political landscape and stability was maintained by keeping me as the Minister of Public Health, Social Development, and Labor. And despite this occurrence, and out of loyalty and gratitude to the Democratic Party, I still decided to run in the 2014 elections with them. I was elected to Parliament thanks to all the votes that I received, as well as what the entire Democratic Party received. And it was my intention to remain as Minister of Public Health, Social Development, and Labor while we were preparing the 2014 to 2018 governing program. I insisted that the counterpart law, policy, and implementation guidelines be taken up in it, since it was part of my overall strategy to ensure that our young, educated, experienced, or inexperienced could have a fair chance to enter the labor market and to be given the opportunity to showcase themselves. My first program, Employability Through Training, provided the people of St. Martin the chance to get trained and to get employed, and this was mainstreamed into the regular work of the Labor and Social Services. This is paramount to me given the consequences and correlation of unemployment and crime, and we see what has been happening lately. And whether it is those on the block or those off the block, I am not the Minister of Justice, nor do I have that information, but we understand the consequences of it. However, the critical point was taken out. That critical point was taken out of the governing program in my absence by MP Roy Mallon at the time and Michael Ferrier, in the presence of the National Alliance as well as the UP representatives. Given the resistance by the older stalwarts of the DP, I can't. USB, I said. Can we wait for the questions at the end? Thanks. In the presence of the National and USP representatives, that critical point was taken out. Given the resistance by the older stalwarts of the DP, I contemplated what would happen should I take the office of minister only to be ousted by those who wanted to take control of the party but were not elected. I spoke to Cyril Westcott Williams and indicated that I would like to have a letter from the DP members indicating that should I not be minister for whatever reason, that I could take up my seat in Parliament, to which she replied, that would not be possible. I then asked, well, how is it possible that MP Roy Mallon could have provided you or her with that option, but no one was willing to provide me with that option? She then said that was under different circumstances. I asked her to please explain those different circumstances. Needless to say, I did not get an answer, or did I get the option? Understanding the political dynamics, I decided to change the political landscape based on principles without disrupting government to join a coalition that would support my vision and ideas. Last week, we experienced a change in political dynamics, and as some would put it, caused by ship jumpers. I understand by that move that 7 ministers have been given a vote of non-confidence, and that also means that 35 members of their cabinets in total, generally speaking, would also have to look for alternate work. I'd like people to consider what they would have done if they were standing in my shoes, and not just at the time as in shifting my political support, but even now as a vice chair. Because during my tenure as a minister, I was faced with many challenges, whether it was personally, politically, or professionally. But I stayed focused on work to improve the lives of all who live on St. Martin through health reform, social reform, and labor reform. And this morning you heard from Minister Boseman about the Civil Code package coming to Parliament pretty soon. I look forward to that work continuing and working on it. However, reforming a ministry and the way government functions is a task that takes many years. But with the help of civil servants, we were able to make a lot of progress and I believe our track record speaks for itself. This was my job, but I cannot do my job if I'm not allowed to do it. If I have to have my own political party plotting to destroy my career, my livelihood. While many of you may have seen my decision as one of betrayal, again I ask you, what would you have done if you were in my shoes? I would ask any of you how you could possibly align yourself with people who created an environment like the one I just described. Knowing it was the right thing to do for the people of St. Martin, I have never regretted my choice. I did the best I could with what I had at the time. That is all any of us can do in this life. Now, I'd like to address another issue because there were claims about an illegal act that I may have committed. First of all, I think we have to be very careful with the words we use. When something is illegal, that means I'm breaking a law. And then you have to report me to the proper authorities. A request for meeting was sent in to address the issue of an illegal act by myself. I returned notice to them saying that if it was an illegal act, to please report me to the proper authorities, if that's number one. And number two, they can reword their request and resubmit it. And we will, of course, schedule it. That was during my time as vice chair. Now, there were a couple of meetings that transpired. The first one, they said that I refused to hold. I would like to correct that as well. Number one is 30 seconds before we reached a half an hour of canceling the meeting, Mr. Bell walked over to me and asked me if I would chair the meeting. At the time, I had my letter making my position available. I was the first one because of the shift in majority. I respected their decision. I said to Mr. Bell, you're like asking me like 15 minutes before the meeting is supposed to start. You know, give me a minute because I'm not aware. Because first of all, the president and the first vice chair were the ones that would chair the meeting, and I did not receive any notice from them whether they were present or not present, and usually that is always communicated. I left the room and I went to speak to my coalition partners, Tamara Leonard and Yanchi Leonard, outside, and I was trying to find out about MP Lloyd Richardson and MP Leona Marling. While that was happening, MP George Ponfred went and opened up the meeting, chaired it, and closed it. All good and well, that is what transpired. Secondly, when the permanent and ad hoc committees had to meet, that one was the one that I just dealt with. When I closed the public meeting as well, I had that right under Article 37 of the Rules of Order to do so. Anytime a chair is there and he can anticipate the way a meeting is going to go, then you can always make a decision. And I sought for legal consultation. That is within my right. I must say that at the time when I read the notice to the members, I said national ordinance according to Article 59 in the Constitution. Now this translation was approved by the Island Council on the 21st of July 2010. This is the copy of the Constitution that I had, and in Article 59, you can read it for yourself. It says national ordinance. However, I have to correct because the new and translated version says national decree. So I just want to clarify that so that that's not an issue anymore. I also need you to understand that there are many things in our Constitution as well as in our rules of order that need to be addressed. For example, the Article 33 that everyone is raving about, they talk about 33.2, and others forget to read 33.3 and 33.4, which clearly states that if you're going to give a motion of non-confidence to sitting members, then in 33 you can also go ahead and detail the conditions for such an act, whether it's the person has to be heard, the person has X amount of time to whatever. These things have to be detailed, and our job as legislators in Parliament is to do such. And working out these shortcomings in our Constitution, as well as in our rules of order, need to be done. I'll give you a good example. The position of the second vice chairman does not exist. It does not exist. If you read through the rules of order, they do not talk about a second vice chair. They talk about a chairperson and a vice chairperson. Nowhere in our rules of order does it say second vice chair. So we are doing things kind of out of customary, adopting others' ways of doing things. And in the last 6 months for sure, we have been trying to revise these rules of order. There are spelling errors in it. There are grammatical errors in it. There are areas that need to be fleshed out that also needs to be addressed. For example, we had a closed door Central Committee meeting it was supposed to be with the Minister of Justice at the time, and he postponed it because of the situation at the government building and the safety and security of the staff that was supporting him. Now, when I went to open our meeting and started sharing it, in the notifications, MP Sir Prescott Williams wanted to use Article 6.4, which is to relieve the sitting chair of their duties, and I kindly informed her at the time that this is a closed-door Central Committee meeting and is not allowed to be handled in a closed meeting, because in Article 22, it tells you 7 reasons exactly why the Central Committee is authorized to do. And seeing that this was a closed-door Central Committee meeting, it was not allowed to happen. So I acted in good faith each time.
Vitamalt takes care of you. And now, check under the marked caps for a chance to win prizes. More detail on press.
Anybody bingo? Nobody bingo.
First of all, I'd like to state that the celebrations for St. Martin's Day celebrations this year took off months ago with an organizing committee. We looked at persons within the committee who are passionate about celebrating culture and would also be passionate about catering to St. Martin's Day where the committee at large could enjoy. One of the first things that as Minister I thought about was that I would like St. Martin's Day celebration to be a sense of tradition coming back, a sense of pride, and a sense of unity. So what we did, we played around with a lot of themes, and the theme that we came up with, though culturally diverse, St. Martin's unity comes first. This theme was developed by one of the persons within the Ministry of Education, Culture, Youth and Sports, Mrs. Lizanne Charles, with, of course, endorsement from my persons and many other persons within the ministry. For St. Martin's Day celebration, this year, as I said, the committee was tasked to create a calendar, day of events where the community will not only feel a sense of pride, but a sense of traditions coming back. I posed my vision to the committee, and they went forward with executing the various tasks in terms of having the activities diverse throughout St. Martin. I would like to share with you a lineup of what is currently planned and what will be taking place. We're beginning not only on St. Martin Day, but we're looking from on this Sunday, November 8th, and we're having the 10th annual Harbor to Pier swim meet that is organized every year by Mr. Les Brown from Lab Sports Academy. The Then on the Tuesday, November 10th, we are looking at the eve of St. Martin's Day celebration. We are looking at having, hosting a classical pan concert for our community, and this will be done by the Dow Musical Foundation. This is not only for certain invited guests, this is for our entire community of St. Martin to come out and enjoy our St. Martin tradition through the pan. And then on St. Martin's Day, the event itself, the Wednesday, we're having a full packed day of events where all persons, all ages, all preferences in terms of what do you like to attend, we're ensuring that the community enjoys St. Martin's Day this year to its fullest. So on November 11th, we will begin, of course, with the wreath laying ceremony. That will take place early in the morning at 8 a.m. Then we will have the official church service at 9 a.m., which will be hosted at the Methodist Church on Front Street. After that, we'll have a parade of the uniformed troops, and the various uniformed troops will have a parade to passing through Front Street. Then at 11:15, and we're really trying to stick to time so that we don't have overlaps of events taking place. At 11:15, official speeches will take place in front of the courthouse by various dignitaries from both sides of St. Martin. Then after that ceremony ends, we will have a fancy fair that will be hosted right here by the Clem Square, where we will have games and rides and entertainment, bouncers, and lots of family fun and building on family unity at this fancy fair. At the same time, let's say given our difference, we will begin the opening of what we call traditional St. Martin sports activities on the boardwalk. So this will have games like line and spoon race, three-legged race, jumping in the bag, tug of war, dominoes, beach volleyball, and I can go on and on. However, again, we do want to emphasize the importance of family unity and traditions as we host the St. Martin sports traditional activities also. While the fancy fair is taking place and the sports activities also going on, we will have, beginning at 3 in the afternoon, a cultural parade. Now, this is going to be a cultural parade, I believe, like none we have ever had before, and soon I will give the floor to Mr. Dormoy to further elaborate on such. The parade we're having is going to have a very unique setup, a very unique route, and it will most effectively, it will pass in front of the fancy fair in close vicinity to the boardwalk, so persons who are in the area can also witness this cultural parade as taking place also. After the cultural parade, or during the cultural parade, the route the cultural parade is taken, we want to meet a certain thing. We want to involve all persons in the community, so we're going to reach out to schools to have our students involved. We want to have a traditional kite making competition, which the plan is to host it in the area of the Ring Road. This is where students and schools can become involved, and they have to make these kites, let's say from scratch, traditional kites. In terms of, we're going to look at size, we're going to look at most unique kite, the biggest kite, most colorful kite, and we're trying to encourage persons to come out to take part also in this event.
I'm from the St. Martin Medical Center, and what was interesting for me was John Maxwell, when he spoke about living with intention. I think that is important for us, where with intentions you want to make sure that you give out what you expect from people, and I think that is very important. And I think what Victorious Living is doing is an excellent job, and I want to commend them for doing this.
Definitely. I myself, I'm Jonaida Martinborough. I'm representing the Justice Academy and the Ministry of Justice. I want to thank the Ministry for sending us on this great experience. I want to also thank the Victorious Living Foundation for having it, for hosting it. Also, what was important, what made an impact on me was when Pat Nzioni mentioned that it's important to be vulnerable as a leader and also don't hide your vulnerabilities as a leader, because it also helps you to build trust among your team. And I think that's very important in order for teams to be able to learn to work together. They have to learn to trust each other. And I think that was something I've gathered, and I hope to learn much more from this experience.
So you would say that both you all learned something today?
Definitely. Very informative, very educational. I would encourage for the next one, everyone to sign up and be a part of it.
There will be a fee because we are a nonprofit organization and we are currently not funded in any major way by anyone. So lots of what we do is from our own creativity. And so there is a general fee of $75 for the public, and students pay $50. So it's an investment that you're making in yourself, and as well giving back to the work that we do with families and young people and couples here in our community. So you also will get a certificate from John Maxwell's company, and this is, internationally recognized certificate. But even more than that, we're going to have an opportunity as a community to look at what is happening in our community with fresh eyes, discuss, and as leaders come together to see what can we do cooperatively to help to change the situations of violence, of crime, of our situations with our families, with youth, with our government. So I'm actually intentionally inviting government officials as well to be there. We're also thankful that at the last event, the Minister of Education, Minister Rita Bourne-Gum, she was present, and she was very grateful that she was there. And so we also charged her to encourage her fellow, colleagues to be a part of it. So let me just let you know two other speakers: Resilient and Ready, How to Thrive Through Challenge and Change, and this will be none other than Valerie Burton. She is an executive coach, and she's going to be looking at creating building blocks of resilience to effectively manage challenges encountered in leadership and life. And all of us face challenges in life. And so she will be equipping us with a survival toolkit that will allow us to navigate disappointments in a way that makes us better and not bitter. And we will learn to maximize opportunities, bounce back from setbacks, and develop the thinking style that research has proven will help you succeed under pressure. And finally, The Untapped Advantage of Organizational Health. This is by Patrick Lencioni, and he focuses on organizational development, teamwork, team building. And he's describing and implementing the 4 steps to achieving long-term success and optimal organizational health. And this is what he says: too many leaders are limiting their focus to areas like marketing, strategy, and technology. Addressing the model in his latest book, The Advantage, Pat asserts that leaders and organizations need to shift their focus to creating a healthy organization with minimal politics and confusion, high degrees of morale and productivity, and low turnover among good people.
Anybody bingo? Nobody bingo.
But I believe that in this case he's dead wrong. I believe that they should do the honorable thing, and there is no argument that they can use that can justify the Council of Ministers basically staying in their position. In a parliamentary system throughout the world, that when a government loses a majority, and if another group within that parliament can foster a majority, basically then that government would basically take office and they would run the country until when the time comes that they would either call election or if there's another breakup of the constitution. I believe the fact that the prime minister is indicating that they want to make changes as it pertains to the electoral laws, and I find that it is basically putting the horse behind the cart, because when they took office, at no time did they mention that constitutional or electoral reform were basically high on the agenda. Today, when we listen to some of the members within Parliament, in particular the leader of the UP and the deputy leader of the UP, so basically Mr. Frankie Myers and Mr. Theo Heidegger, again, they were members or have been members of Parliament for the last year. Theo has been a member of Parliament for the last 5 years. And if this is not the first time that we've had people leave one party to form a coalition with the next party, it happened in the first term, and it happened even after the election, that two members, one from the Democratic Party, Mr. De Weaver, as well as Leona Marlin, left the US party to join the coalition. And even at that time, they did not see the importance of bringing electoral reform or changes to our electoral laws. So I think that basically to use it now, that because they are the one that would have to leave office, I think they're doing an injustice to St. Martin.